this is Anna from Savvy Cat Realty, and today I'm here to talk to you about the region of Sintra and whether or not it may be the right location for you in Portugal. So just before we start, for those of you who don't know, my name is Ana Caramujo and I'm the owner of Savvy Cat Realty. Savvy Cat Realty is a relocation and investment agency that helps expats settle in Portugal from a lifestyle perspective. Our goal is to help you find the right location and the right property for your own personal needs. Our services are always very tailored to that, and we are a team of locals that know our country very well, so we are able to guide you through all the little details. If this makes sense to you, do check out our website in www.savvycatrealty.com, where we list all the information very transparently about our services and costs. We work with both rentals and buyers, and all of the information can be found on our website. Once again, www.savvycatrealty.com. So going into today's topic, which is the region of Sintra. Sintra is Concelho, so basically a region near Lisbon. It's about half an hour to 40 minutes by train or car, and it is towards the coast, upper from Cascais. So Sintra is particularly well known for the monumentality and having some of the most beautiful palaces in Portugal, being the most renowned, of course, the Pena Palace, with its impressive gardens and beautiful, quirky, colorful architecture. So it's definitely a place worth visiting, even if just for tourism. And Sintra also became very much a hotspot for nobility and has a number of other palaces and noble residences that can be visited. And it's definitely an incredibly charming location. So definitely a place that has a lot of tourism, and you can particularly feel that in now, because we're in the high season. We are currently in August 2025, and there are lines and lines and lines of people going to visit Sintra because it's absolutely gorgeous. And if you are going to visit and have a tourist experience in the town of Sintra, I would definitely advise you to bring very comfortable shoes because you will be climbing and walking a lot. So the Pena Palace and the Moorish Castle are at the top of the hills, and you definitely you have transfer there, but you can also walk, and it's going to be a very long walk. The first time I did that in Sintra, I spent basically the whole day walking. It was a very good exercise, and I'm probably not going to do it again. So once was enough to get the experience, but it's definitely a place worth visiting with gorgeous views. Visit the walls of the Moorish Castle, visit the inside of the Pena Palace. It's beautiful. And it can be extremely popular, and it has a lot of hotels, of course, and also a lot of foreigners that fell in love with the noble houses and palaces. This is both a good thing and a not so good thing. So of course the good part is a lot of them are getting renovated, and lots of them were in not such good states. And even when I went there last month, there was a lot of things still getting renovated, and I saw definitely a very big improvement from the last time I went there to explore, which was about 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And you can definitely already see that a lot more renovation took place, and that's more commerce and so on. Of course, the downside of this is that it's very tourist oriented. Most of it are hotels and lodgings. Personally, I don't at all condemn this, because I personally know how expensive and how hard and how long it takes to renovate a property like this. And unless you have a lot of money that you can put aside, the only way you will make this viable is using tourism. So I don't find this a bad thing, but of course there is a lot of local indignation because of price risings and tourism, and you can find a lot of signs throughout Sintra saying that the first one, there's one at the entrance saying this is not Disneyland, and lots of signs criticizing the lack of affordable housing and Sintra, which I completely understand where it's coming from, but it's a particularly hard problem to solve in a location like that, because it takes a lot of money to renovate and maintain this kind of noble palace properties. So, Sintra is a very international location, and if you are interested in renovating a palace, we can definitely help you with that, but be prepared for it to be a very long and expensive process. So that is definitely something to be taken into consideration. If you are ready to go through all of that, we are here to walk you through it. So, another thing that Sintra became very renowned for was the cults and energy and its quirky places, like this pet walking down spiral with a well. And it's kind of lots of theories about Illuminati and cults around it, so there's a lot of quirky things there. And when it comes to energy and spirituality, people tend to go either way. So they love it and they love the energy, or they absolutely hate it and can't stand the energy. Personally, I'm a bit in the middle. I think there's days where the energy is great, and there are days where the energy is not so great. So it is definitely not for everyone, and you should definitely visit before making a decision if that's the place you want to be in. It's absolutely gorgeous and worth visiting once again. And it's also known to have a lot of fog, and fog makes it extra mysterious. So it can be, even though it doesn't help with the views, it's kind of a charming, quirky characteristic of that location that makes it even more fairy tale-like. So, Sintra is not just the town and of Sintra itself and its palaces. The freguesia, the Conselho de Sintra, actually englobates a lot more than that. It also englobates the Reserva Natural do Parque de Sintra, so that's a natural reserve mountainous area that goes all the way to the coast. And it also englobates then some places closer to Lisbon that are Gualva, Cacém, Algarão, Mem Martins, and all of these areas. So these areas are actually all completely different from each other. And another thing that is important to mention is that you do have a train that goes from Lisbon to Sintra. The Sintra line actually has a bad reputation. It's known to be one of the most dangerous in Sintra. I actually have a close friend of mine that recently moved to Algarão, Mem Martins. So I've been getting some feedback of her own experience, and she hasn't had much trouble so far, but it's definitely a bad reputation line. And it can actually be better to take the train than driving. Theoretically, it would actually be more or less the same time, but with traffic and high traffic areas, it can take as much as double the time if you take the car versus the train from the more residential areas. And there are no costs on the highways to access. So even if you go by car, you have no costs on the accesses from Sintra to Algarão. There are, however, a lot of radars, and they keep changing the velocity like every 10 miles. So do be very aware when you're driving in that area. So, going into the different locations within Sintra, let's start, since I was just mentioning that I have a friend that moved to Algarão, Mem Martins. So Algarão and Mem Martins don't have the best reputation. They are known to be very affordable locations in the suburbs of Lisbon, and they are, however, very practical because of the train access. And it's very much a suburb-like location with lots and lots of very similar buildings, most of them like 60s to 90s builds. and it has a lot of parking, and all of the streets kind of look the same. You also have all of the industrial things and supermarkets, a bunch of them, so it's a convenient place to be. You also have like the Allegro Sintra Mall, that it's just around the corner, so you do really have everything close by, and you are just about half an hour from Lisbon. It is a great place if you are looking for practicality and affordability, but definitely be careful choosing, because there are a lot of not so reputable neighborhoods in this area. So it's an area that you have to be relatively careful with. So this area, of course, is the cheapest area within the Sintra location. So to go a bit between prices, we have in Algueirão, Mem Martins and Algoava Cacém, which are one next to the other and all kind of looking the same and having the same kind of characteristics. You can get as prices from 2,500 to 3,500 euros per square meter, depending on the kind of build and so on. It has some villas, but it's mostly apartments in this area. While if you go towards the Sintra and Colares and Serra the Sintra area, which is more towards the coastline, you have a lot more villas than apartments, and it's a lot harder to find apartments than villas. And this area is also completely different when it comes to characteristics and also to prices. Sintra and Colares are the most expensive regions in this area. Colares actually being more expensive than Sintra. So Colares is just next to Sintra towards the coastline and where the reserve area, forest area starts. And personally, it can be one of the most pleasant locations to have a villa in Lisbon if you can afford it. It has quite a number of small villages and separate little housing blocks, so to say, all the way throughout until the coast. And it also has one of the most beautiful beaches in Portugal. It is, of course, an Atlantic beach, so it's not going to be particularly warm, but it's gorgeous, and it constantly comes up in all of the promotion and tourism shots of Portugal, which is Azenhas do Mar, where you have this beautiful, beautiful cliffside view with all these typical houses and a natural pool right next to it with this beach bar. And it's a gorgeous place to visit and have a cocktail. It is a fairly small place to actually go to the beach, but it's super nice to have that beautiful natural seawater pool. And it's extremely scenic. So between that village, that beach, and Sintra is basically where the Colares area is. And Colares area is one of the most expensive in the Sintra area, with prices going up to 4,500 euros per square meter, which I must say, it's still very significantly lower than other locations closer to Lisbon. For example, if you go towards Cascais, you will get prices higher than this. Not too, it can be more or less the same. Cascais is a bit more accessible, while Colares is a bit more isolated. You kind of have to have a car in this area. I personally like it more because you have more beautiful locations, and I personally found the beaches in Serra de Sintra more beautiful and more pleasant than the ones in the Cascais side, but this is a personal opinion, of course. And there are some other ones that are worth visiting, like Praia das Maçãs, that has the Riba beach also right next to it. And both of them have pools that these are not natural seawater pools, though they're artificial pools, one of them public, the other one private. And these ones have much bigger stretches, while the Azenhas do Mar beach is quite small. But like I was saying, on the Lisbon area, I find these to be some of the most pleasant beaches and most scenic ones that you can find. So Colares is a region that I highly recommend if you are looking for a pleasant area that is not too busy, that is still close to Lisbon, and still close to the nature, and also very close to Sintra with some of the most gorgeous palaces. And then you have Serra de Sintra, which is this green, fairly big stretch of land that is very hilly, and there are a number of tourist spots in Serra de Sintra too, like for example Cabo da Roca, which is a bit more south from Azenhas do Mar and Praia das Maçãs. And Cabo da Roca is known to be one of the most north to eastern sides. I always confuse the cardinal points. So one of the most eastern points in Portugal, and it's extremely windy, but very, very beautiful views that you get from there. It's worth visiting at least once. And you have some miradouros, some viewpoints at the top of some little temples throughout Serra da Rábida. Some of them are no longer accessible by car, so I did not go and film them, because we're talking about like a 20 minutes hike up. And honestly, I wasn't willing to do that just to get some footage from the Serra de Sintra, which I do say it's a gorgeous location. And if you do like hiking, I do highly recommend taking some trails there. So I think this more or less covers what you have in the Sintra area. Then after the Sintra area, you have the Mafra region that englobates Ericeira, and I'm going to do a video about that some other day. And just to close down, I'm also going to talk a bit about the rental. The rental market in Sintra is also a lot more appealing than the rental market in Lisbon. So currently in Lisbon, we're talking at overall average prices of 22 something euros per square meter, while the average on the Sintra region is about 13.6. And it varies by little area from 12.6 to 16.5. So very, very much more attractive than the Lisbon area. There's also a lot of offer, especially in the Gualva Cacém and Algueno Mem Martins area, where you'll have a lot of apartments. For villas, it's generally always a bit harder to find offer. There is a lot less offer in the market and a high amount of demand. So generally it is always a bit harder to find villas than apartment for that reason. But they still exist. It's just a matter of maybe taking a bit longer to find them. So if you enjoyed this video about Sintra and you find the information useful, just subscribe to our channel. Here on YouTube, we release new videos every week about information of Portugal, locations, and information that we find useful for those who are looking to move here. If you want to work with us, feel free to check our website in www.savvycatrealty.com, where we have all the information there listed very transparently, or contact us directly at contact.savvycatrealty.com. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I would love to hear your feedback about Sintra, and I hope to see you all next week. Bye!